It is written that we must love thy neighbor as thyself and love thine enemies. For it is written, for it before in the law before, you cursed your enemies. But verily I say unto you, love thy enemies. Many people have no problem with this if it's a gangster, a reformed gangster, somebody that's gay, somebody that's repenting from adultery, repenting from murder with inside of gangsterism. But if it's a murderer that isn't a gangster, then they got a problem. If it's a rapist, they have a harbor of hatred. If it's a pedophile, they have disgust and hatred within their hearts. Yet, when they see somebody that's committing adultery, they say it's wrong to have hate for somebody that's committing adultery, but they must have love for that person, but have no love thereof for the rapist, have no love thereof for the murderer or the pedophile. When we are called to love thy neighbor as well as thine enemies, for the penalty that is deserving of them will be done. For it is written, vengeance is mine. Thus saith the Lord. That's why, as Christians, we are not meant to judge. And why I mean, yes, there's righteous judgments. Righteous judgments means, I see somebody as a thief. I'm not going to go and hang out with them or commune with them or eat with them or gather myself around them because they are a thief and I do not like thieves. So I'm going to judge them based on what they are, and what they are will determine how I will treat them according to the relation on how we communicate with each other. Meaning, I do not want to surround myself with a thief. Therefore, I will not be with a thief. But if that thief repents of stealing and steals no more, then we have no problem because he's not stealing anymore. He is not a thief anymore. So now he can be around me. We can commune with each other. We can eat together. We can gather ourselves in relation of what we need to do and come together as people, whatever you do in your day-to-day lives that you do with people. That's what judging righteously means. You don't want to be around somebody that's sexually immoral, who is sexually immoral, so you don't be around them people. But as soon as they repent from their sexual immorality, then they can come and be friendly and cordial with you. But you don't harbor hate for this person that was sexually immoral. You don't harbor hate for the thief. So why do you harbor hate for the murderer? So why do you harbor hate for the rapist? So why do you harbor hate for the pedophile? For love is the fulfillment of the law, hate is the prevention thereof. And many people will say, well, in the law of Moses, most of these people will be put to death. Murderers will be put to death. Rapists will be put to death. Pedophiles will be put to death, of course. So will adulterers. Don't you know the same penalty for murder is the same penalty for adultery? So when people get all riled up in their emotions because they are beta males, I don't even like using that word, but that's just, it's it. But because they're weak, docile men, they'll say, well, this murderer, he deserves to die. This rapist deserves to die. This pedophile deserves to die. But then they don't keep the same rules and regulations for the person who commits adultery. In which in the law of Moses they had the same penalty. Because the reason adultery warrants the death penalty, they got stoned to death. The man and the woman who were perpetrators of the act was stoned to death, just like the murderer was put to death, because the feeling of the victim, the feeling of somebody who has lost a loved one is tremendous. The feeling of someone who is the victim of people committing adultery is also tremendous. And both is warrant of the death penalty. So how can you say, when you see a murderer or a rapist or a pedophile today, and then you see an adulterer today, and you say one deserves the death penalty, but the other, you must control your emotions and not, it doesn't make any sense. It's an oxymoron. And most people do not recognize nor realize the world programming that they still have. But it is written to renew the mind. Most people have already clicked off this video because, it's crazy to them. But it is what it is, and it is written, vengeance is mine, thus saith the Lord. So we have no right to go off and, try to kill somebody just because they murder somebody, or do this or do that. If we do not have the right to go off and kill somebody who commits adultery, you can't just be all, all uppity and aligning with the truth on one side, but then when the truth rubs you wrong, you're a bit shaky. You're leaning off sideways. You gotta look at the context all of a sudden. Renew your mind. Delete the programming.